Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Conversations with Beck McPhee. I'm going to read the introduction to this particular meeting because I like the way it sounds. As the leaves turn and the air cools, autumn brings a bounty of delicious, nutrient-rich produce perfect for supporting your health and managing blood glucose levels. In this session, accredited practicing dietitian and health coach, Beck McPhee, will discuss which autumn fruits and vegetables are naturally low on the glycemic index and ideal for blood sugar balance and creative and simple ways to prepare seasonal meals that are both satisfying and diabetes friendly. So that's what we're doing today. Hi, everyone, and welcome. My name is Richard Mankins, and I'm the Program Operations Coordinator here at Diabetes Australia. Today's webinar is on autumn seasonal foods, what to use, how to use it, and which low GI foods are now available. And there's a swag of them. Makes my mouth water just reading through the list. Our speaker is Beck Murphy, our resident nutritionist, who I'm sure many of you already know. If you have any questions throughout this webinar, we encourage you to raise your hand, leave yourself leave your mic off until you're ready, until you're called by Beck, but raise your hand using the button at the top of your page, and Beck will call you out in the order that you raised your hand. Cool. Okay.
Thank you.
And when she does call you, then turn your mics on, and otherwise keep them off, please, so that everyone gets to hear what's being said. Today's webinar will be recorded. The recording is already started, and it'll be available on Diabetes Connect a few days after completion. As a base courtesy rule, yeah, that's basically what I just went through without reading you this blurb. And I have to put this disclaimer in, whilst Beck is an accredited practicing dietitian and health coach, she's unable to offer personal medical advice or consultation. If you have a general question that could be answered by another one of our health professionals, please post your query in Diabetes Connect, and we'll get back to you with an answer. I'll now read our Diabetes Australia Acknowledgement of Country. Diabetes Australia acknowledges Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander peoples as the traditional owners and custodians of this country. We recognise their connection to land, waters, winds, and culture. We pay the utmost respect to them, their cultures, and to their elders, past and present. We extend that respect to the Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people here today. We recognise that Australia is made up of hundreds of different Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander groups, each with their own histories, culture, language, and belief systems. Their relationship with country remains of utmost importance, as it is the foundation for culture, family, and kinships, songlines, and languages. Diabetes Australia is committed to improving health outcomes for all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people affected by diabetes and those at risk. So I'll hand over now to Beck, and again, welcome everyone.
Thank you. Welcome everyone. I can see that Deb, or Graham, has the same backdrop as Richard, so you must be sci-fi nerds.
Yes.
Big thumbs up from Deb there. So look, I'm going to share my presentation. It's just very brief because, as you know, I like to hear from you all. So let me just share my screen. Let's go into, okay. Can everyone see that?
Yep.
'Tis the season. This is my favourite. It's my favourite time of the year. But before we get into it, I'd like to just go through a few Mythbusters. What are your thoughts on these comments, which I have had from members and patients in the past? And it's related to a lot of autumn produce. So people with diabetes can't eat carbs. Fruit is full of sugar, so avoid it. And pumpkin is forbidden. What do you think of that? And come off mute.
I think it depends how much of that you eat, perhaps. It's not like totally something you can't touch.
Exactly. Who's that speaking? I just want to. It's hard.
It's Albert here, yeah, Albert.
Oh, Albert. Hello, Albert. Yes, that's
Hi.
right. So do you include fruit in your diet? Do you include
Yeah.
pumpkin? Yeah. Okay.
Pumpkin, I've got to be very careful because that does spike the sugar.
Oh, yep.
Yeah, sugar, yeah, try and minimize that. I have sugar in my coffee, but I don't have sugar in my tea.
Yep. Yep.
But I don't have lots of sugar. Yeah, it's kept to a minimum.
That's right. And I think you're right, like portion caution. I've never said no to someone putting a wee bit of sugar. I'm saying wee bit because I heard your Scottish accent there. Am I right?
Yeah, well done.
But it's not Glaswegian, is it? It's not from Glasgow. No, it's not. You're more the Edinburgh side.
Further northeast.
Northeast. Oh, Aberdeen. Okay, there you go. I'm getting distracted.
It's
one of my favorite countries in the world. So what was I saying? Oh, sugar. So, you don't have to cut all sugar out of your diet. So if I've seen someone who has 2 cups of tea in their day and they have a spoon of sugar in each, that's absolutely fine. It's how much we have. I'd much prefer 2 spoons of normal sugar a day than lots of artificial sweeteners in multiple cups of tea. But for other people, if we're having a lot of tea or coffee, yes, we could look for some sort of natural sweetener. What are other people? How do you manage? We're going to go through the seasonal produce in autumn, so for fruit and vegetables, and I use this as the base when I'm coming up with recipes. But what are your thoughts on pumpkin? Is that something you include in your diet? Does it spike your levels? Because like Albert said, some people, it's low GI, but some people find it spikes their level, like oats. Like I know Deb, if she eats oats or a lot of oats or rice, it spikes the level and you can get low GI versions. So it's not a one size fits all. Graham. Oh, sorry, Deb. What do you have to?
Sorry.
Welcome. No, that's okay. I should know, honestly.
Yeah, for me, pumpkin, my favourite way of eating pumpkin is either pumpkin soup or roast pumpkin. If I do a roast pumpkin, I always leave the skin on and I actually eat the skin. So the fibre for me of the skin helps it not to spike so much.
That's a really good example. And that's key, because rather than just getting rid of pumpkin, I know the way my mum would cook it would be mashed boiled pumpkin, and you might get like a blood sugar rise from that. But if you're using fat, so baking it with olive oil, my mum would cook it would be mashed boiled pumpkin. I'm echoing. I don't know why. Is everyone on mute? If you could pop yourselves on mute, doesn't mean you can't not talk. It's just that I had an echo in my head. So, and I don't like hearing my voice, and I was hearing voices. That doesn't sound very safe, does it? No judgment. Where was I? The pumpkin. Yeah, fat. So we know that fat helps to slow the absorption, which is a great way of including pumpkin. So it's what you actually add with it. And I'm going to add the slides again. I went off share because I couldn't see your lovely faces. It's just, I don't know what Teams is doing. Let me share it again. But Deb has hit the nail on the head. Let's go back. Can you see that, everyone? From current slide. So with the seasonal produce, we do know that pumpkin is one of the popular ones. And so the best way to do it, you could try and experiment and pair it with protein, some healthy fats, and include fiber. So Deb was exactly right, keeping the skin on. And if you're really baking it really well, it won't taste like you're eating bark. It actually has a beautiful taste, and it kind of melts in your mouth and can be quite crispy. So you're adding that fiber to slow it down, the fats, the protein. So I've got an example of a chicken avocado pumpkin salad. Definitely can help with managing those blood sugars. And pumpkin makes, just like beetroot, makes a really nice warm salad, because we don't want to have cold salads like cucumbers and tomatoes. When we're getting into more of the cooler season, we want to change the temperature of our food to match the weather. So you'll leave the cool cucumbers and cold tomatoes for summer, and then you can start using those root vegetables in the right portion with adding protein and fats, and that should help slow down the blood sugars. But you could do that and you could still get a spike. So it's not a one size fits all. But this is, and you're going to get these slides after today's presentation. But what I do is I go on this website, I've got it down there, called the Seasonal Produce Guide Sustainable Table. So it tells me all the produce in Australia of vegetables and fruit, and I use that for the basis of the recipes. And I'm going to take you for a wee tour of our website with our recipes. But you can see from A to Z, we've got a huge range of vegetables here. Avocado, it's still very cheap, and it's interesting. I always have this bit of a pet hate. For our recipes to meet our nutrition specifications, they have to have 7 grams of fibre per serve, and that's quite hard to get if you're just basing the meal on a salad. But if you ever add some avocado, it boosts the fibre. So if I'm ever finding it hard to ensure that the recipe meets the specifications, I tend to add a bit of avocado to it. So you're adding good fats and fibre without the carbohydrates, which is good for people who find they're a little bit carb sensitive. I'm going to escape from there. Can people see that still? Can you see that? Can you still see it? No. Let's go back. I'm just going to have to share the screen and not worry about not seeing you. I find it very hard to not be able to see you all, but I'll just share it. Does anyone want to talk about any of these? Have a look through of all the different vegetables. Are there any that you include? Do you have any tips? Or are there some that you've tried and you've found that you've got a blood glucose spike and you need a little bit of assistance with how you could even try a different recipe? What are your thoughts? And come off mute. I can't see anyone's faces. This is the frustrating thing. So I can't see if anyone's got their hand up. Spot presenter view and slideshow.
For me, Beck, potatoes, white potatoes of any description, will always spike. And what was another one there? Oh, corn. Yeah, I love the taste of corn. But and I've tried lots of different ways of using it, and it just throws me right off.
Isn't it interesting? So you can see, it's trial and error, and I know Deb, you would have tried it different ways, so it's just a matter of just not eating it so much. But for others, if you can do the combination of, or like Deb said, the skin on the pumpkin, you could leave the skin on the potato and put it with protein. What sort of veg do you kind of go for then, Deb, in autumn? What are the go-to veg that you include?
It would be the broccoli, the cauliflower, eggplant. I make, my moussaka recipe.
Yes.
So I use the eggplant a bit with that. Spinach I like, and I'll use a fair bit of that, and zucchini. Yeah.
Yes.
Most of the others, really.
Yeah, there's quite a few to choose from. And what I tend to do is when I go to the supermarket, and I go between Woolies and Aldi, sometimes Coles, and I'll just buy whatever produce is on special, and then that becomes the basis of my meal. The eggplant's really good for moussaka, but it's also a good low-carb lasagna option, so you can replace the lasagna sheets. You can get lower carb ones, but they're more expensive. You could use eggplant. I tend to use eggplant and roasted red capsicum, and you can layer that between the meat. And the cauliflower makes a good cauliflower rice. And I tend to put grated carrot and zucchini definitely in my rissoles or patties, especially when you have a 5-year-old who doesn't always eat the visible vegetables. Does anyone have any autumn soup recipes that we said pumpkin soup?
Beck, I was just going to interrupt you if I can.
Yes.
Yeah, my name's Annie, and I've got a headset, but I don't have a camera, so I apologise for not being on camera.
That's okay.
But I just quickly wanted to say I'll probably be pretty quiet because I've only been diagnosed with diabetes last week, and this is my first interaction with Diabetes Australia. So I'm just going to sit back and listen, if that's okay.
Absolutely. Annie, did I reply to you? I'm just trying to remember. Were you on the forum and you said, hey, I've just been diagnosed on Friday? Was that you?
No, I haven't. This is my first interaction, apart from reading the website. So I just thought I'd let you know I'm not ignoring you or being rude. I just have nothing much to offer at this stage.
But thank you, Annie, for sharing that. And look, with this webinar, you can sit and listen. You can be a sponge. You can add your 2 bobs worth. This is very, very freestyle. Like I said, I always have a couple of slides, but I want to hear more about what you have to say and question time. And also, Annie, if we don't get enough time to cover everything, I always make sure I write a list and then I posted on the forum any extra resources that people like. While I'm speaking, can you see the slides? Because I can see you guys now.
Yeah,
I can see them when they're big, yeah. And I
good.
apologise, Alison, I couldn't raise my hand either. I see you've got your hand raised there, so I'm so sorry to come in over the top of you. So I'll turn my mic off now.
That's okay. That's okay.
It's a
You can
problem.
see you can see the hand up the top here.
Yeah,
I don't know
it
if it's-
wouldn't let me
Wouldn't
raise
do
my
it.
hand for some reason. But yeah, so I'll jump out, but I just want to let you know that's why I'll be pretty quiet.
No problem. And look, we don't mind people jumping in. If it doesn't work, the most important thing is to hear what you have to say. So don't ever worry. But let's go over to Alison.
Actually, and I saw yours as a number 1 and mine was number 2. So I don't think you jumped in actually at all.
There you
But
go. I can see everyone else's hand, but not my own, maybe. I'm pretty new to this. Okay, thanks, Alison.
two things I was going to say. Number 1, I did the Daphne program some time ago, and I looked at my little book that went with that yesterday because I bought a corn cob each for a change for lunch. And it said that a corn cob, according to the book that went with the Daphne thing, it said 4.5 grams of carbohydrate. So I did that, but I was low all the time afterwards. So obviously a whole cob of corn is not 4.5 grams of carbohydrate. So I thought, I need to check all that. Normally I would have about 1/3 of a cup of corn kernels
Yes.
in any vegetable on my plate. But I thought, there'll be more than that here, But anyway, I was in a hurry, and of course it was taking longer to boil, and I had longer between the injections. So it was an interesting day yesterday, but these days happen. Number 2, you said about soup. We make a very unusual soup here because my husband has a chestnut tree. And ages ago, 20 years ago, he said to me, "Are you able to eat chestnuts?" And I said, "I don't know." And I happened to pass Kay Foster Powell somewhere or other, and she said, "I don't know, but I think 5 would be about a portion." That's off her head some time ago. So I now make chestnut and carrot soup every winter when our tree bears. And of course, it's very unusual. It's lovely. For a while, I was adding extra vegetables, thinking extra goodness. But of course, then I froze it, so that made it more runny. So I'm trying to decide whether this year I just make chestnut and carrot, or whether I do the better and just don't thin it as much before I freeze it. But these are the things that you do as you go along, and you learn as you go along.
I love it.
That's my really special one, and we used to have lots of people here. In fact, many years ago, when I was running the local diabetes support group, we had one of the educators from DA in Sydney who was coming to speak at our meeting, and she sat in my backyard in our area straight outside the door, having chestnut and carrot soup on her way to the meeting with me. So
Wow.
that was, now who was that? That was it Ange? Ange?
Edlin?
She does a lot to do with the children's camps. Isn't it terrible? I'm losing my memory and forgetting that.
Ange, yes, it would be.
You know who I'm talking about.
Yes,
She runs all the children's. Well,
yes.
She's mature now, like I am. I'm talking. I think I gave the leading up the. Yes, that's me. I think I gave up leading the local group about 10 years ago. They all just about died by then because DA was doing such a wonderful job with all the internet stuff, and we weren't clever with internet, generally speaking, being old people. But but anyway, I should not be prattling on any longer. But
I love your examples.
That's my special favourite soup, and we have a lot of it in the winter because our tree is starting to bear now. The problem is I live in the Blue Mountains, and the possums also have discovered that they like chestnuts as well. So last night I said to my husband, "Did you hear at 3 o'clock this morning they were having a lovely time running up and down the tree, and there are a whole lot of, because they're in a spiky skin, chestnuts, and there are a whole lot of them on the ground empty this morning, so they've robbed us of more chestnuts. So who knows how many we'll get this year."
Oh, they've got a good life up there then. But I love that example because it's about, the seasonal produce, and it's so wonderful if you've got produce in your garden, and Rich can talk to this too. I mean, if you've got fruit trees, a veggie patch, and I love that example too, Alison, about the corn, because when you cut the corn, it looks a lot when it's a whole corn, but when you cut it, it'd be interesting to see, yeah, how much would that make, a quarter of a cup or a third of a cup? And it's like with ice blocks, they look quite small, but then when you large, but when you melt them, they come to about this much liquid. So it is just a learning experience, isn't it? And when
Every
you know,
day.
when you're in a rush, oh, definitely. And sometimes you have to do the guesstimate because you're running late and you think, okay, 1 cob of corn, is that 1 exchange of carbs, or is it half an exchange of carbs, or whatever? But a really good example. And Annie, who's just starting out, it is trial and error. There's no such thing as failure. I've never seen a person with diabetes fail, or a difficult person. We all just have barriers, and we all have things that make it sometimes challenging to manage diabetes. And it's never perfect. There's no such thing as perfect. It's just about doing the best you can. I don't even use that word perfect with my daughter. It's about trying. And if that strategy doesn't work, try something different. Don't flog a dead horse. Yeah. Now, number 2, we've got A. There is it. I'm trying to look at what the name is, and then we've got Deb after that. So number 2. Oh, Annie, it is you. Annie.
I apologise. I think I've clicked my hand a couple of times thinking it wasn't working. So you can just ignore
it's working now.
Yeah. Thank you.
That's okay. Deb.
Yeah, for me, I've got a friend who's actually going through chemo treatment for cancer, and I said to her, "What can I, make for you meals wise?" And she said, "Soup, please, soup." So I've got kind of 6 recipes that I've made up and frozen. They freeze really well, but a couple that are really nice are tomato and fennel.
Oh, nice.
And a minestrone. But I don't put pasta in my minestrone.
No.
So and they're obviously both tomato based, but
yes.
Yeah, love both of those. And she just, it's something that she can easily heat up and just have a small amount, and it's just, all nutrition.
So nourishing. Yeah. I think it's a great gift. I mean, a different situation, but one of my girlfriends, she was one of the first that had a baby, and I thought, what should I give her? Maybe not flowers. Maybe I'll just take her meals, because she said, she's breastfeeding around the clock and has no time to eat. So I did the same thing, made up soups, and she just put it in a mug, and so she'd sit there and just sip it. And especially with chemotherapy, if you're tired and having small frequent meals, I think that minestrone is such a great one. And I tend to do the same, Deb. I'm going to take you on a tour of the website with the recipes, but the minestrone that I do doesn't have the pasta, but I'll put the legumes in. So I call that double carbing. If you have the pasta and the legumes, you might find your sugars spike, but if you choose 1 carb, you might find that you can get away with it. So just a few legumes, but with lots of that tomato and other sort of veg. What a great gift. She must be so appreciative. And soup, is such a great one-pot wonder. And great to freeze. I think it's brilliant. Alison. No, you just hands us up. Now, I'm going to go to the next slide. Okay, so fruit. This is a contentious issue, but can you see all the different fruits there? Are there fruits that are your favourite that you use in autumn? So this would be at the start of autumn. So you can see mango's still there, because technically we are in autumn, but by the time we get to May, you won't be seeing mango as much. Can you all see the screen? Yep. Great.
There's something over the top of it for me. All I can see is
just,
thank you. Yep.
Well, there we go. Have I done that? It's me being selfish. I wanted to see your faces, so I've just reduced that. So what I tend to do as well, for those who are new to any of my recipes or learning about carbs, people often think that carbs are just starchy, but there also can be fruit. So we know that fructose is a natural sugar in fruit. And if we have too much fructose, yes, it can be a problem. But if we have 2 serves of fruit every day, most are low GI, it's portion caution, and basically what you can handle. But as I said before, like with pumpkin, if you can mix it and make it part of a meal, then you'll find you can handle it as well. So avocado, apple, I sometimes slice an apple and make like a Waldorf salad. chicken Waldorf salad. So chicken Waldorf is apple, you've got walnuts in there, you've got chicken, and then I'll do a little dressing like Greek yogurt and a bit of lemon juice and a bit of Dijon mustard, and I put celery in there, and it makes a really nice salad. So you can base your meals on a piece of fruit. Mango, you could slice a bit of mango. You could halve a large mango and put avocado and prawn in it. We've got lemon and lime. Remember from one of our last webinars that using acid helps to slow down the absorption of carbohydrate. So nature is there to help us. Then you've got lower carb fruits such as strawberries and raspberries. They're kind of, you know, mostly manageable for most people. Peach and pear. Again, I put that in a salad. So I love a pear, rocket and walnut salad with a white wine, olive oil and Dijon mustard vinaigrette. And then I usually put a bit of fish on the side. And then peach, you could do peach with some sort of cheese, like a feta cheese in a nice salad. There's so many options. Now, who would like to, what are we up to? So, Deb.
Yeah, sorry. Tell me if you get sick of hearing my voice.
No, not at all. That's what this today is about, is hearing your experiences and your ideas. Otherwise, I'll just be talking to myself, and that would be horrible.
Your pear and rocket salad, if you put roast beetroot in that as well, it's beautiful.
Ooh, yes.
For me, papaya, well, we call it pawpaw, but my understanding is that pawpaw has an enzyme in it that's diabetic friendly.
Yes.
So, and we've actually got a couple of pawpaw trees not yet bearing, growing. So I'm looking forward to that. Figs, we've got a fig tree that is absolutely laden, and when I can wrangle some from the birds, I enjoy figs. Yeah, and fig for me goes really well in a salad.
Oh,
any salad really. Yeah, so I steer away from mangoes. I love them, but I don't have them often. They just spite me. We've got rhubarb growing. That's really good.
Oh, delicious.
Yeah. So, and custard apples. Yeah, that's not friendly to me.
It's interesting. It's good that, I mean, this is what people will do, is choose the carbs that suit you. And so I can see a pattern with you, Deb. The ones that are a bit more higher GI, like the tropical fruits, the rice, the more traditional carbs, but then you can get away with more of the temperate fruits. Figs are just wonderful because they've got such natural sweetness. And I usually put it in a salad with a bit of blue vein cheese. Now, not everyone's a blue lover. Take it or leave it. Smellier the cheese, the better. But it makes a good salad base as well, definitely. Richard has fruit trees. And Richard, tell us about your fruit trees. He's always sending us some lovely pictures and showing what he's grown. And he's in sunny Queensland.
I grew up with a father who was green-fingered. Everything he touched grew, and I don't have that. But as I've gotten older, I've taken this hobby, and I have about 70 fruit and nut trees in my backyard now, and I'm caring for them all. And some of them are fruiting already, even though they're the oldest ones, I think, 6 months old now. And I've just put a whole bunch of dragon fruit. Three dragon fruit trellises, built all them, and it's really rewarding to collect your own produce and eat it. Nothing else tastes the same. But I am coming up against, as some of you are, the birds and the insects and the diseases that they're prone to. Some of them are naturally resistant, like the mulberry. Nothing touches that. But but some of the other things, like my persimmon and my cherry, and I mean, I'm living in Brisbane. You can grow anything here. I've got peaches and plums and cherries and all the cold fruits that you'd normally only find in Victoria. Shepparton around there. I've got them growing. They're special versions. Most of them are dwarves. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been able to fit them all in. Most of them are dwarves. They won't grow any more than 2.5 meters.
That's all you need.
Yeah, and yeah, it's really exciting.
It's like your backyard is a fruit bowl.
Fruit and nuts. I've got
Nuts,
the
oh,
Malabar
yeah.
chestnut. I've got the Malabar chestnut. It's growing really well, but it's a baby still.
Wow, love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Now, Alison, did you want to, your hands up? Oh, you're on mute.
You're on mute.
Oh, you showed me.
She's on mute still. Yeah.
You're on mute, Alison.
I am too. We've had to get rid of most of our fruit trees because we're both in our 80s and it's just getting too hard to find the birds and the possums and get anything. But we still have mandarin and orange trees, and I live of them straight off the tree all through the winter, which is lovely. And that's my special treat now, because all the others are gone because I was just, you know, going to the birds and the, you know, and another thing to have to look after when we're sort of losing the ability to do so. So, but I love my mandarin and my oranges straight from the tree. We've got Valencias that we pick later, more like November, and we've got some navels, and we've got, yeah, I'm not sure about, because you see, I married my husband 20 years ago, and these were all established long before then. So I've sort of come to, and this is why he said to me, you know, am I able to have chestnuts? Because it was a learning curve 20 years ago. We do still have a cherry guava tree, and I used to make cherry guava jelly when we used to have street stalls and fundraisers, and when we liked that, but we're cutting down our diet considerably now too. So I don't know what's going to happen to the cherry guavas when they happen this year. But because they're red anyway, the birds usually find them. So we feed the birds pretty well. How do I negate the flag now that clap hands up there now that I'm finished?
I just click the hand again.
Click the hand again.
I thought I tried that, but it didn't happen. There or up the top? Up the top.
At the top.
Now,
there, you got it.
Thank
Up
you.
the top.
Is mine still up there, Beck? Annie?
That's okay. Yeah, that's okay.
Is it gone
Just
now?
click. Oh, now
Yes,
it's gone.
it has.
There you go.
Hey, thank you.
I'm always learning something new on Teams. There's always something that I discovered. But I love, Alison, the oranges and mandarins. It's, again, nature is really showing us how to ward off colds and flu, because we know that, you know, citrus is so high in vitamin C, and yet they're available in winter, and they're very low GI and usually blood sugar friendly. I tend to use orange. I've got one soup recipe with roasted carrot, sweet potato and orange soup. It's delicious, really, really nice. I'm going to take you for a tour of the website. For some of you who may not have seen it before, can you see that?
Not yet. We're still on there.
I'll stop sharing the other one. Okay, hang on. Here we go. Share again, and let's share the website. Can you see that?
Yeah, see that. Yeah.
Okay, so look, unfortunately, with the website, when you go on the front page, there's nowhere that it says, you know, recipes. So go up the top and type recipes. So we really do need to change that. And when it comes up to recipes, it breaks it down into different types of meals. Now, the ones that have got my name acknowledgement, use those ones only because the ones I've created are in line with our new nutrition specifications. And the new nutrition specifications has a carbohydrate limit of 30 grams for a meal. Okay, so that's your, you know, you can rest assured that they are carb controlled. Now, that's not for everyone. You may have diabetes and very active and need more carbs, then you can add something to it. So I tend to use whole foods, and if you need more carbs, you can add your basmati rice or something. But you can see this is from the autumn meal plan. So those who have a paid membership, you receive a meal plan every month. And I pick a different theme, and this time I chose autumn. And like I said, I go to that sustainable table and I use that as a basis. So the veggie protein bake, that could be a quick lunch or breakfast or even a light dinner. And so I've got baby spinach there and mushrooms. We've got fish here. That's a tofu one. I always make sure I have a vegetarian option for vegetarians. And you can see this is a quick tuna bean toss, which was one of our members contributed this recipe. which are really good. So we're using seasonal green beans, really high in fibre. You can see here, let me just move this over. 1 bowl protein mix. So those who've spoken a lot to me, I have this 1 bowl wonder I tend to have for lunch. And so I just pick all the seasonal produce and then I layer it. I start with seasonal produce, then I add some protein, then I add some good fats, etc. So that's a really good recipe. A roasted chicken, that can be quite an affordable meal. You're just using a normal raw chicken. I've got autumn veg with them, and I'm using a lemon and herb marinade. Here's my high protein chicken and pumpkin lentil soups. There are some carbs in it. Let's click on it. I don't even know how many carbs is in it. Okay, so the carbs are 22.5. That's not too bad. So what I do is I come up with the idea and then I put it in FoodWorks, which shows me the carb content, and I'm always tinkering, working out how I can modify it. So you can see I'm only using half a cup of dried lentils. Most recipes will use much more, but I'm trying to keep the carbs below 30. I have the carbs per 100 grams to help those with type 1 who are carb counting. And you can see the protein, there's 30 grams. So with meals, our specification says at least 20 grams or more per meal. So I've hit the 30 gram mark, and fibre should be at least 7. I've come up to 8.3. And sodium's very low. So you can see that I'm trying to make sure that the meals are very balanced and sustaining. This one's an autumn shepherd's pie. I just came up with the idea of swapping the potato for pumpkin. So where is it here? Yep, I'm using still 1 charisma potato. So charisma potato is a 25% reduction in carbs. So I'm only using 1 potato, but using more butternut pumpkin. And remember we said that protein slows down absorption. So I'm using protein there, and I'm flavouring it with the white wine and chicken stock. Bit of cheese on top. The carbs are only 20 grams. Now for a traditional shepherd's pie, cottage pie would be much more. And protein, 31 grams. So it's quite a lot of protein. So go through the website, scroll through, and it's about choosing what suits you. There's Autumn Power Bowl. So this is one of my 1 bowl wonders. Let's have a look. 28 grams of protein, only 11.6 grams of carbs. So what did I put in it? I don't remember. Chicken, cauliflower, canned chickpeas. So the chickpeas is the carb choice. And I've done a little, oh, that's right, tahini, lemon juice and olive oil dressing. I churn out so many recipes that I kind of forget what I do. And can you see you can use different options. If you don't have cauliflower, use green beans or broccoli. If you don't eat chicken, put tofu or salmon in it. You can chop and change it, and it makes mealtime really easy. Deb, you've got your hand up.
I looked at these recipes the other day, and I looked at the shepherd's pie recipe and I thought, oh, I really want to make a shepherd's pie, but I didn't have any mince. So I had just some shredded chicken in the freezer. I thought, well, I'm going to use that. And it came out, it was lovely. It was.
Oh, great.
Yeah.
How much chicken did you use? Did you just use a couple of cups?
Yeah, a couple of cups. Probably the equivalent of about 2 breasts.
Yeah, got it.
Yeah. But just what I'm trying to do at the moment is use what I've got in my fridge, my freezer, my pantry. So yes. and I'm happy to have the basis of a recipe and then look at whatever protein I've got
yes.
and use that up.
Yep,
that's a great idea. Whoops. Sorry about that. That's a great idea because Deb, hang on, I forgot to ask you, weren't you doing a pantry challenge where you were going to use up all your food in the pantry and in the freezer?
Yes.
How did you go with that? Do you want to explain the concept? I thought it was brilliant. And how did you go?
Yeah, so generally I'll do it, I try and do it for 2 months at the beginning of the year. So January, February, and I'll base my meals around what is in my pantry, what's in my freezer, and what's in my fridge, and what's in my garden. And so, using up those sort of things so that I can then have room for the seasonal stuff that I want to put up in the freezer or that sort of thing, preserve. It worked. I I have one leg of lamb and one piece of steak left in my freezer. So my meat order is going in next week.
That's great. I love it.
Yeah,
And it's
yeah.
saving money. And, you know, how many
Yeah.
times have we thrown out, you know, soggy or limp vegetables and things in the pantry, and you have to check the use by date. So I think that's a really good idea.
Yeah.
Really good idea. And I love the idea with using the chicken. So yeah, all my recipes, there's kind of a theme. You think, oh, she's not that clever after all, because really it's just protein, low GI carbs, some sort of seasonal produce, and some sort of flavoring. And my flavoring is always usually olive oil, stock, wine, Dijon mustard, lemon juice, that sort of flavour. I don't really deviate from that, or maybe sometimes a bit of fresh orange juice, but we're using natural flavours, and then you can chop and change according to the season. It really isn't that hard once you get into a routine. Now I'm going to stop sharing. Does anyone have some recipe requests? Do you think, oh, I really want to make this? Do you have it? Because we can have a look on the website, and or we don't have to just, because we've got time, we don't have to keep it. I'll let you do whatever you want. You don't have to always talk about autumn produce. Do you have any burning questions you want to ask in this forum? Because you've got myself, but you've got a lot of experienced people in this chat as well. So it can be a bit of both. So any burning questions, and or is there a recipe request you think, I really want to make this, but I'm a bit worried about the blood sugars? Do you have an alternative? I'm just going to text my mum for a cup of tea. I did text Nanny McPhee for a cup of tea. Cup of tea, please. There we go. She'll bring in a cup of tea for me. Yes, Deb.
I tried recently. I've had, as part of the pantry challenge, I had a lot of frozen berries in my freezer.
Oh, yes.
And I tried to make ice cream.
Oh, yes.
It tastes good. Like, it's the berries. All I did was frozen berries, little bit of cream, and some coconut milk, I think, just from memory.
Oh, nice.
And it tastes okay. It's just that it's rock hard. Like, it's,
yeah, you haven't got that
it's
sort of creamy.
almost impossible to. You have to cut it with a knife to dish it out.
Yeah, no, I hear you. I've got a let me find it. Summer berry ice creams. This is if you've got, hang on, let's have a look. Ice cream. Here we go. Summer berry ice cream. If I stop sharing that, let's see if I can share this. Come on, Rebecca, you can do it. Can you? Yeah, okay. I'm not very quick at this, but let's do it. Here we go. I'll send this to you guys too. Can you see that berry ice cream?
Yep.
Okay. So the creaminess comes from the avocado, but I think, Deb, you think from the coconut milk that could work, or coconut cream. So I blend it all up, and then before serving, I say to leave it out, or let it sit for 5 to 10 minutes. So it becomes a bit of a soft serve.
Yeah.
But it's just berries, avocados, and banana. What's the nutrition information? So, well, look, 17.38 grams of carbs. That might be a bit too much for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So where the carbs are coming from are the bananas. So, I mean, you could change that definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard because it is, yeah, it does become quite hard. It's like you have to cut it with a knife, not so much scoop it. But that's one idea I had. And I had another one where it was cocoa and avocado and something else that made some sort of like a mousse as well.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
It's a good, I'm going to have another, I'm going to go back to the drawing board and come up with another idea.
Maybe you're right. Try a thick shake rather than an ice cream.
That's true. You could do that. Do you know, actually, for the Easter meal plan coming up, which I just submitted yesterday, I have a chocolate thick shake, and it's a little bit of banana, but again, you could swap it for avocado for that creaminess. I use cocoa, milk of your choice. The banana's frozen, so you chop up even if you put one piece of banana, and then avocado, cocoa and some ice cubes, and it becomes like an Easter chocolate thick shake. So the theme is sort of chocolate related. Oh, thanks, Lenny. Oh, thank you. Thank you, tea lady.
Does she take orders?
Bless her. Well, I make her 2 cups of tea every morning in bed.
Well done. Good.
I've always done that since I was very young. So yes. Yeah. So and the other Easter theme I've got is the low carb pancake. So I put cocoa in it to make that sort of chocolate flavour. And there's a chocolate flavoured or chocolate French toast. So again, I used to make this for Sophia when she was a baby, and it was just egg, a dash of milk, a bit of cinnamon, and a dash of vanilla essence. And then you dip the bread in, you cook it in a bit of butter, or you could do olive oil, and then you cut up in fingers, and she used to eat it like that. But you put some cocoa in it and make it chocolate based, and you can use low carb bread. So you're still getting that flavour of French toast. Yeah, and you can use a sugar-free maple syrup if you wanted, and that's in my meal plan coming up for Easter. Yeah. Now, don't forget, I say this every time, and those who are always tuning in will think, oh, here she goes again. If you have any recipe ideas you'd like to donate, please send them to me. I will reference you, because I'm always looking for inspiration and ideas, because I churn out at least 21 a month, and it becomes laboursome, enjoyable still. But yeah, if you've got any favourites, or as I said before, something that you'd really like to make more often but it's not so healthy, I can look at one of my meal plans is called Fake Away. So I came up with healthy alternatives of takeaway foods. So we can do that as well. So any burning questions, other questions or tips? We've got a little bit of time. Normally we run out of time. So today it's not such a controversial topic today. Normally if it's a controversial topic like low carb, no one stops talking. But this is kind of a fun topic. We're talking about seasonal produce. Any other ideas or tips that you'd like to share, or concerns? Now, there's a little rule that I've learned in basic counselling that it's called the 10-second rule. And when you pose a question, you wait 10 seconds. And sometimes that uncomfortable silence is too much for people, and they can just jump in and talk all over you. And I used to think, oh, that's very uncomfortable. And I always go off topic, but anyway. And I tried this as an experiment in my private practice. And I thought, I better give it a go. And I found on the 8-second mark, on average, the person spoke, and that was bang on 8 seconds. And it taught me to leave the silences for people to speak, for people to think, for people to process the question, and give people time, because we have 2 ears and 1 mouth. We need twice as much listening as speaking. So there's a little tip. So if I'm sitting mute, I'm not falling asleep. I'm waiting. Over to you, Deb.
I hope it was more than 8 seconds.
It was 8, 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, very slow counting.
There you go. I just wonder whether is there any value in sourcing organic produce? So, you know, I think we're spoilt in some ways, because you can get most things pretty much all year round in the supermarkets.
Yes.
But what's the quality like, and should we be sourcing organic and being more intentional about being truly seasonal?
I'm a believer in seasonal straight away, because I think it gives us variety as well. I don't eat raw tomatoes in winter. I use tin tomatoes, and there's more lycopene, antioxidants in cooked tomatoes, so tin tomatoes. Now with organic, yes, there might be slightly more nutrients in it, but there has been research and there's not too much of a difference. And we've got to look at affordability. My concern is ensuring everyone eats enough vegetables. But if you're lucky to live close by where they have organic and it's within your budget, organic would be better, but it doesn't mean that produce from the local supermarket or green grocery is bad. As long as we try to eat it fresh, that's the best thing we can do. If it's a limp carrot, well, then we're not really going to be getting a lot of nutrition. Yeah, it's a good question. And look, I don't eat organic because we don't, unfortunately, where I am. Thank you, Nanny. Thank you. Nanny McPhee. I do treat her nicely, don't worry. And she likes being called Nanny McPhee because she said, I'm too old. I feel too old to be called Grandma. So she's Nanny McPhee.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, so I don't buy organic because, I don't have anything around my area. I'm south of Wollongong, so I just make sure I use a local greengrocer. So I like to give business to the local greengrocer. And I have a few friends and relatives who do grow some produce, so I try to grab a bag of this or that. Yeah, it's a good question. Look, it's not too much of a difference, slightly. Richard.
Yeah, I was just going to offer a suggestion for a future conversation.
Please.
Preserving. Yeah, growing your own produce and preserving it.
Love that idea.
Because I've watched a few programs on YouTube recently. People who are living completely off the grid and growing their own produce, and the way they make it work is to preserve it. They've got their own basement storage area, and apparently so far under the ground, a couple of feet under the ground, the temperature changes and becomes it becomes constant. I can't remember what the depth was, but it was not too far. And they build their storage area down there, have a couple of really big deep freezers, and store potatoes for months and months and months, and carrots and a whole bunch of other stuff. Very interesting. So. Which
is probably, I would say, common practice from hundreds of years ago, which they do with cheese. I mean, they have it in caves, a lot of blue cheese. It's interesting. Deb.
I was just tagging on to what Richard was saying. Because we grow a bit, we're nowhere near self-sufficient, and that's never going to be our goal. But we do grow, a fair bit of stuff, and we can't consume everything fresh that we grow. So I preserve. I'll do things like freeze. I dehydrate. I water can bath, bottling, and I'm on the Gold Coast, so not far from you, Richard. And the cellar is not an option for us. But I actually just use. I actually stole my linen cupboard in the laundry and relocated it somewhere else, and I use my linen cupboard for my preserves and it's so handy. It's time consuming in the moment, but I can, for this pantry challenge, I could go to my pantry and pull out a jar of marinara sauce.
Fantastic.
Throw that into something, and the meal's almost done. I love. I've only been probably doing it for maybe 5 years, but just enjoying, having the accessibility.
I wish I lived in the Gold Coast. I'd be over. But you look at every culture around the world. I mean, I love the Italians. They have it almost like a festival, and they bottle the tomatoes. And even when you look in the UK and parts of Europe, you bottled summer fruits. You've got the canned fruits, and even at Christmas, you've got the dried fruits. They've dried the fruits and they're using it as a Christmas pudding. And as I've said in previous webinars, that pickling, I've done a pickling course actually, and you got to pickle your own vegetables. So I did fennel and dill, and I got to pickle them. And when you're using the vinegar, it helps to lower that GI as well. And again, remember, we've taught good gut health. So if you're fermenting and pickling, these are things that we've been doing for hundreds and thousands of years. And I love that we're going back to just nature. And I've said this before many times: if your great granny came back and was in your kitchen today, whatever she sees in the fridge and doesn't recognise it, you don't want to eat it. So we just want to go with whole foods and enjoy it. And then 10% of the time, enjoy what you like. If you love a certain type of gelato, or you like a pub meal, or you like a bag of chips, go for it. But the rest of the time should be just whole food in its natural state. I'll get off my soapbox. And Margaret.
Hi, I just wanted to add that someone said about, it's about eating seasonal, and that in our shops we get all year round stuff. And I'd just like to say that we really should not be buying things that come from overseas because A, the nutrition is lower, and secondly,
Correct.
it's so bad for the environment. So anything that's travelled more than 100k should not be bought in supermarkets or grocery stores. That's all.
Agree, Margaret. 100%. And we want to support local farmers, don't we? First of all, local. So I try to get as much as I can local, but then Australia-wide as well. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Yep.
So eating seasonal is actually the best way to go generally. Yeah.
And who wants to eat a cold cucumber in winter? I don't want to eat a cold cucumber in winter. I don't want to eat a cold tomato in, for me, my idea of tomato is caprese salad, where you've got fresh tomato, bocchini and basil with a bit of balsamic vinegar and olive oil and a pinch of salt. That's a summer salad. The winter salad is the beetroot, the pumpkin, baby spinach, things like that. Yep. Alison. No, we just got you.
Mute.
I think the industrialization
I was just going to say, when I was a kid, of course, my dad made Mum a special cupboard with the shelves the right height for the Vicola jars. And very often we would go out for the weekend and we would pick berries, or we would go to places where there were peaches and on the farm. And so Mum would come home and do all the bottling, and we had bottles from yay big to
I love it.
And that's how we lived when we were kids, because everybody did it. Well, lots and lots of people did it, and the big Vicola set was the big thing, and so many. This cupboard would have been 6 foot high, I suppose, and absolutely chockers, because with the shelves of the right height exactly to fit the bottles in, and there was just always plenty of food.
I love it, and no waste.
It's how we should be eating. I
agree.
Still, if I do cook, I do try to cook from scratch. But I must admit, I have gone back to U-Foods. I'm trying my second week this week.
Gave it the thumbs up, so at least for your diabetes, it's okay. So.
Yeah, it's just that I'm not so sure about the lactose-free that I have to now look at. So I'm also into lactose tablets that I have before I eat it. But I'm still thinking I will say goodbye U-Foods and still do a bit more myself. I listen to Deb and I think I'm so pleased that she's so keen about cooking and food. I'm not. I'm way past that now.
We need to move to the Gold Coast. Get off the Blue Mountains. I'm going to leave London. Live near Deb.
Thank you, ladies. Thank you, Richard.
Albert just had something to say.
Comment. Yeah, the industrialization of food production, population growth, and the introduction of processed foods, it's had a huge impact on people. And like organic, but like people, it's just so expensive for most people that are trying to just survive day to day. The lower socioeconomic part of our population in particular struggle, to actually find food that like we're discussing today, and it's available, but sometimes it's hard. And it's just like the reality, of course, of what's changed over time. And there's a lot of nostalgia, of course, associated with pickling and preserving, and I think that's it's a great hobby, and it's a good option for people that can do that. I think that is nice. I've done a little bit myself, but not recently. But yeah, sometimes I've been disappointed in the outcome. I think because I had these memories like from childhood with pickled eggs at the chippy, and I couldn't get the same thing, but that was probably not going to happen anyway. And I tried pickled eggs once, but I didn't really like the pickled eggs, but so anyway. So that's just a few comments. So.
No, you're absolutely right. The Industrial Revolution, look at fluffy white bread, and it was the rich people that had the fluffy white bread, and it was the ones that had the bread that you could put a hole in the wall with it that were the healthy ones. So a lot of poor man's food were actually healthier. And I think you're right. I've had to do a meal plan. I'm corresponding with people from remote areas of Australia, and they honestly have supermarkets where they receive produce once a month. So I've had to help come up with a meal plan that uses what they have, and it's frozen and tin veg, which we know frozen can be just as good, if not better, than fresh. And so I've had to come up with ideas with pantry staples to encourage people to have, like you said, Albert, it's the best you can do. You may not get all the vegetables every day, but you're getting some, and it's better than just buying white bread and chips and making a chip sandwich, chip butty or a chip sandwich. So yeah, I've been working with that and trying to come up with ideas, and yeah, we have to do the best that we possibly can.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And the
Yep.
influence that is the exposure and influence to children, young people, is a massive thing that it produces people like myself that have got the diabetes, I guess, because, you know, Scotland hasn't got the healthiest diet, actually. When you think about it, things might have changed now, I guess. I remember when white bread came out, and it was, you got circular white bread so that
Yes,
the processed meat would fit. So that was a big thing. Yeah. Yeah,
that's
done
what
some
my
crazy
mum.
things.
Well, my mum, we were talking the other day about it. My mum said she had white bread, Devon and sauce sandwiches, and she said that was. But you know, her best friend was of German background, so she had the heavy rye bread with the lovely salamis and all that. And no one wanted to swap with mum because she'd have the Devon and sauce or the baked bean sandwich, but she'd want the healthier ones from for the European kids. But anyway, can you believe it's 12:30 Wollongong time, 11:30 sunny Queensland time? I just want to thank you all again. It's always a pleasure. Love speaking. We don't always have to talk about problem-focused topics. Today was more of a solution-focused topic, quite nostalgic. I think it's lovely. And remember, use the forum if you've got any questions or comments or concerns, and go to the recipe section of our website. And if you ever have ideas, please email them to me. I'll be only too happy to come up with a modified version or use what you have given me. And thank you, my wingman, Richard.
Ah, been a pleasure. Thank you.
Yes. Thank you, everyone.
Just a reminder to everyone, this recording will be up on Connect in a few days, and keep an eye out for an email tomorrow that will ask you to participate in a survey. It takes about 2 minutes to complete and helps us provide you with programs that best serve your needs. Also keep an eye out for your monthly newsletters and in Diabetes Connect members events page for more upcoming webinars. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Richard.
Thanks.
Bye.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.